Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2022 season, as we look ahead to this week's round 13 clash against the Warrington Wolves at the Halliwell Jones Stadium on Thursday evening. Kevin, going to enjoy this one?
Yeah, to be honest, I do enjoy going over to Warrington. It's a local game, isn't it? I can get the train from here as well, straight through. Not too bad at all.
It's always one of the best away atmospheres, isn't it? Potentially more so than at Wigan, given the way the stand is laid out and the terrace.
Yeah, I think so. I think because it's obviously standing behind the sticks, they're very reminiscent of the West, isn't it? So you always do get a good atmosphere there. Wigan, as you say, can be hit and miss with the seating, especially if they do as they did, was it 2019? And the atmosphere was great, but you were limited to where you could sit. They don't allocated seating. So yeah, you usually get a good atmosphere. And hopefully we can do that again on Thursday.
Absolutely. And hopefully the Warrington security will give Saints away fans some protection coming out of the ground at the end of the game as well, because we don't want to see reports of some of the trouble that's happened in recent times. I've seen Warrington got fined for an instance against Cass. And obviously they've said the right things, so let's hope they can follow through on it, because it's not as if we're not saying what happens and what goes on and pre-warning. So fingers crossed Saints fans don't need riot helmets coming out.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Listen, there's good-natured rivalry to be had there. There doesn't need to be all this this stupidity, and that's what it is. It's base stupidity.
Listen, it should never get past Warrington fans having a go with us for not getting to the Challenge Cup final next week, and us reminding them that they haven't won a title for 67 years.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you think about it, and I've got mates who are Warrington fans, same as Wigan fans. You have a good-natured ribbon with them. You don't need the rest. You don't need to almost try and prove that you're something that. I mean, all you do is prove that you're an idiot if you're throwing bricks at coaches or trying to start fights with fans. What is the point?
It's strange, isn't it? Because it's almost like a sort of a different rivalry than with Wigan, because obviously post Good Friday, win or lose, you're out on the ale afterwards, having a beer, discussing the game with your arch rivals, but your mates. We don't really seem to have that with Warrington, do we? Not in the same sort of allegiance. Is it maybe just the geography, a little bit of that?
Possibly. I agree. It might just be our group of mates that we've not got too many Warrington fans who are really good mates. As I say, I've got some mates who are Warrington fans who tend to get in touch around the game time, and I might see them
and then disappear afterwards.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you don't really hear from them, which is unfortunate, because that's it. With Wigan fans, you still get them chipping in throughout the year, and yeah, it's probably not. It's not got the same kind of, I don't know, chemistry the rivalry has it.
Is it because it's more of a rivalry on Warrington's part than our own, given that they're not very successful? Whereas Wigan, we've got that healthy respect. At the end of the day, I know we'll have a go with each other, but you know that we're always, both of us, going to be in the hunt for trophies, even if you do have a lean year or two. Whereas Warrington, it's that longer wait. They're like the noisy neighbours who don't ever get over the line.
Yeah, I think a lot of what they do on the likes of social media as well, it's almost like they try and do stuff that I don't know, like advertises them a little bit. Like you think of the little lad in the car who goes whizzing on, and it gets them all the clicks and everything. But you know what? I'm sure the fans wouldn't be that bothered if they didn't have 10,000 likes on a tweet, as long as they won the Super League and they were champions at the end of the season. I'm sure fans would swap all these gimmicks. And to be fair, you start seeing fans on social media who are turning against people at the club and are turning around saying, can we not just take ourselves a little bit more seriously? Yeah, you can have a little bit of rivalry on social media, but when you're an official account, official club account, I think you should kind of know what your boundaries are, what you can do to get clicks, but also temper that with how successful you are. Because I couldn't imagine, say, I don't know, a team like, I'll pick on Wakefield because they're second bottom, a team like Wakefield having a goal and trying to kind of get one over on the likes of Leeds, who have been more successful in recent times, because it just wouldn't sit well. Would it?
Do the Warrington club do that because they haven't got their own version of Redvee, because fans aren't loyal enough to have done it for 20 years?
Well, that's it. To be fair to Warrington, they have got a couple of fan sites that have started, and they have got a couple of podcasts. Yeah, they might not be 20 years on, but you have got a couple. I speak to a couple of them. So,
and listen, if you do it for 20 years, you end up looking like us too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it just wears you down. But yeah, they have got a couple, to be fair to.
Yeah, what would Brian Bevan do? That is the question.
Yeah. Well, what would he do? He's probably got a loose wire. There's another one for you.
There you go. We'll have to, if you want to listen to some Wire fans, looking forward to this week's game, I do recommend those two Wire podcasts.
Yeah, you've got
as fan accounts.
I'll mention Sean Spencer as well, who has been in touch with me. He asked that he was going to come on Redvee earlier in the season, but didn't. So maybe he'll come on after the game on Thursday. I'll have to give him a shout.
Yeah, and then just to put Adam Berry out of his
Yes.
misery, he's asked us, obviously a big Warrington fan, asked us how many we're going to win by. I'm just going to predict by a lot.
All right, fair enough.
Right, we'll move on to the squads, Kev.
Yeah, so only one change for Saints this week as Juma Sambu drops out, and Redvee.net sponsored Dan Hill comes into the squad.
Who, Kev?
Dan Hill. Yeah, it's not Danny anymore, is it? Very good, very good.
It's like he's grown up and he's gone for the mature. Hi, I'm Dan.
Yeah, I like it.
Same with Dan Norman.
Yeah, well, he's never been Danny, has he? So not for us anyway.
Listen, we'll put you in the squad if you shorten your name to Dan or Ben rather than Benjamin or Daniel, because it takes up less characters on the tweets.
Is that why Louis just LMS on there as well?
Yeah, that's right. Roby, Lees. This is why they've had such long careers. Bell, Sim, Hill, LMS on his own.
Even Lomax on there as well, only 5, so that'll do. Parvey as well.
We're only giving Makins in the game because he's got over 1,000 points.
Yeah, true. Yeah, nothing to do. But they're the ones who make the money from shirt sales when they get the name and number on the back.
Do they still charge by the letter?
I don't know. I think once you get over a certain age, you shouldn't have names and numbers on the back of your shirt, Dave.
I agree. What are you trying to say, Kev?
The fact that you've got a full Everton collection of them.
I have, and I will point out, I do that for like historical reasons. So genuinely, I have got probably the last 25, 26 years worth of Everton shirts with name and number on the back of all of them, so I know who played in what season. But I will just add, this season, out of protest, how shockingly bad they were, I refuse to put anybody's name on any of the shirts for the first time ever, and it's killed me.
Can you not just wait till the end of the season and see who keeps you up, whose goals keep you up? No.
I'm not being funny. I'm not getting a Brentford player on the back of my shirt.
Fair enough.
I'm still quite upset and quite worried at this moment in time. I think, as we both are, there's no guarantees in football.
Not at all.
So yeah. Let's move on. Team then, Kev. Will he go pretty much same again this week, 17, or will he shake things up a little bit?
I can see him going same again, to be honest. We've got a week off next week, unfortunately. So if everybody's fit enough, we'll go again. Then everybody can have a week off. So if there is anybody carrying a knock, you're just getting through 1 week. I can't see him changing it too much.
Yeah, obviously Josh Sim dropped out after the semi-final. He played for the reserves at the weekend. But did those combinations that did play with Sione at centre do enough to keep ticking over?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that. I mean, we said it straight after the game, and then I saw that it was in Christian Wolf's comments as well that Matt Percival. He thought Matt Percival went really well on the wing. He did. I thought he had a great game out there. Sione is a test centre. He played there for Australia, so he's absolutely fine out there as well. Yeah, unfortunately for Josh, I just think that he'll stay with them same combinations. I don't see the point of changing them just yet. Although in his press conference, Christian Wolf's press conference before today on Tuesday, when it's been put out, he did mention that Will Hopewati and Regan Grace should be back after the break, so we might see a little bit of a change in those going forward.
No offence to Christian.
Yeah.
And I'll be very careful what I say here.
I know what you're going to try and say, yeah.
But what I will say is, updates from Christian regarding when players will return from injury or potentially play are about as reliable as ringing the taxi office to be told that your taxi is just around the corner.
Well, I mean,
he likes to keep his cards close to his chest, which, yes, you know what? Given the amount of rumour and scaremongering that go around this town, it is about the only thing that does stay a secret is about when a player is likely to return.
Yeah, and that's it. Listen, I do think with Will Hopewati and Regan Grace, we've had a look at, say, what's happened to Will this season, what happened to Mark Percival a couple of years ago, and instead of rushing them back, again, Christian Wolf said this in his press conference, instead of rushing them back, it gives them 2 weeks now of training and skills and getting some running in the legs in a training situation, and gets them up to playing in a match instead of just being thrown in. They've got that time to kind of take it a little bit more gradually and see kind of where they're up to and whether they're ready or not. And we're just erring on the side of caution, because you know what, we've got good enough players to fit them gaps, and there's no point throwing someone in who you think may pull up.
The power fell out. It was about to turn itself off. The screen dimmed. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose 20 minutes of recording here. One of the questions that has come up when we asked for if there's anything that people want us to discuss tonight, it was whether Ben Davies is the answer at halfback. Now, my take on this at the moment, Kev, is that, listen, long term, the answer is obviously no, because he's not a halfback by trade. He'll want to be playing at centre, which is his natural position. And then obviously we've got injuries to Will Hopewati, Regan Grace. I think ideally, Christian Wolf would like to have Will Hopewati at fullback. I think we saw the other week that is going to be his first choice option, so we can put Wellesby in the halves. But in the meantime, I know it's not sparked as yet, but partnerships take time to gel. And I think Christian will persist with this for the next few weeks, especially given that we're winning games still. We're such a long time away from the playoffs. And if there's no other real options, then you may as well give it 4 or 5 weeks to try and see if it gels and see if it becomes a real option. But equally, I'm sure, like behind the scenes, that the club are working on some ways of generating maybe some space on the salary cap, whether that's by offering somebody out on loan, maybe trying to, if there's players who are going to be off contract at the end of the year, maybe seeing if we can get them an early release and sort them out with a club for next year. And then potentially, if you can manage that, you can potentially look at a plan B option, whether that's promoting the likes of Danny Moss from the reserves, or whether you manage to get a player in on a short-term loan deal as cover. I just think the club aren't daft, are they? They'll assess the situation and do what's right for us, probably making sure that we've got the players in the right positions and the right cover come August and then playoff time.
Yeah, I think you're right. And listen, what goes on behind the scenes, unfortunately, we're not privy to. when it comes back to Ben Davies, you say leave it for 4 or 5 weeks. This could be the last week he plays at halfback. We've got a rest next week, and then apparently Will Hopewati's back. If Will Hopewati's back, that's it. We get to Toulouse away beginning of June, and it's not Ben Davies playing 7. It's Jack Wellesby playing 7. So I think he'll leave it as this week. I don't think he'll throw another combination in there. I get people saying likes of James Bell playing in the halves, possibly. I don't kind of want to see his energy lost from second row or 13 when he's covered Morgan Knowles. So I can see it staying as it is for this week, and then Will Hopewati, because we've got that week off. To be fair, nobody wanted it, but it probably is good for us at the moment with the injuries that we've got. I'm
not having it, Kev. I'm not having it. It's not a good week off.
No, well, nobody wants it off, but for us, if you look at it pragmatically, injury-wise, it probably is good for us to get bodies back. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it at all.
It is about the most pragmatic view on this you can possibly take.
That's my. I'm taking all emotion out of it.
Yeah, and listen, you're right. And then obviously we've got Toulouse up after the break, and we all know that's a banker of 2 points.
Well, yeah, like it was last time.
Indeed, I don't think we'll take it lightly.
No,
I don't think we took it lightly last time, but I think there's no way we're going to want to go over there and lose to them twice and potentially put Leeds in any more relegation trouble.
Yeah.
The wire squad then, Kev?
Yep.
We have to go through Dan. Dan! Talk us through it.
Gareth Widdop's back. Is it Josh Ulis has dropped out? Notable absentee there as well is Josh Charnley, whose future's up in the air. And listen, they're down in 8th, aren't they? And if this was any other team down in 8th, you would definitely be confident. If our pack turns up, it unfortunately for them, our pack is too varied in size, speed, and strength for theirs. So our pack turns up and we go great guns here. But these can always throw that performance in. And that's the thing. Listen, we've absolutely steamrolled them at our place. They've not got much over the past couple of weeks. So you go into this confident. But it's just one of them horrible little games, isn't it?
Yeah, and given that they're likely to miss out on the playoffs, this is probably their cup final, isn't
it? But this is it where they want to get the bragging rights over us. Absolutely. And it's been good to see. You know what? It's took them time to realise it. That building a team around the likes of Connor Wrench, Riley Dean, Thewlis, who I know he is out, works.
Yeah, I listened to on the radio to, was it when they played, was it Wakefield the other week? The game that they actually won. And those young lads came in, I think it was Easter Monday, and did well. And you've got to feel like it's going to be really difficult to leave out the likes of Connor Wrench.
Yeah.
It'd be a massive wrench.
I knew there was a joke coming there.
You weren't taking it, so I had to add the explanation in. But no, genuinely, when the likes of the young players come in, that's what fans want to see, isn't it? We've been blessed for many years at Saints. Yeah. Watching our young products, and I don't feel attached to teams that don't have that local element in. You want to see it, and you don't want to just be importing players like Arthur Super League do when they just nick our academy products who don't quite make the grade at Saints because they don't do it themselves. It's the pride in your town knowing that these lads have worked their way up through the likes of Fato Eve and Pilks, etc.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You build your team around young lads, your good imports, and listen, not all imports work, but your good imports and other players that you picked up from other clubs. And I think you go with some of your championship players as well. Like they've got Matty Ashton's the one who obviously sticks out for them. You look at the likes of Alex Walmsley and Joe Batchelor for us, who've come from the championship and that. That's what they need to do. I mean, on the flip side, they've been linked with Matt Duffy, who we were linked with last year. And I know he can play 6 rather than fullback as well, and they might do that if Widder returns home or back to Oz. You wonder whether that is a good signing, especially because last year when we were linked with him, he came out with a quote saying, "There's always overseas if I want to go there, but I feel like I'm an NRL player, and it's a bit disrespectful to myself and what I want to achieve if I go over there now." Now, I know a lot can change in 12 months, but if that was his attitude back then, what's changed apart from him potentially not getting a contract?
Well, at the end of the day, that was his attitude when he was getting linked with the 3-time champions. He's going to be really upset when he rocks up at Warrington, isn't he?
Well, listen, he might see a project there, but again, I've seen people on social media, Warrington fans who I follow, who aren't happy with it because they see the likes of Thewlis getting moved out and not getting game time. Riley Dean not getting game time. And again, this is where the disconnect between possibly whoever's in charge at Warrington and the fans is, because if you turn around to Warrington fans and said, listen, you are going to have a couple of barren years, you'll be all right. You might get in the playoffs every so often. But you know what? In 5 years, you're going to have a team that you're going to be proud of because there's a load of local lads, whether they be Warrington, Widnes, St Helens, Wigan, but whatever, they've come through your system. You've got a couple of good imports in there and a couple of good pros, and you're going to start winning the Super League. I think Warrington fans would snatch your hands off for that.
Yeah, and I think they've just had too many years of going after these big name players and then continually being let down.
Yeah,
you only have to look at the spine of our team. Wellesby, fullback, homegrown. You've got your halfbacks, Johnny Lomax, Lewis Dodd when he's fit, homegrown. James Roby, homegrown. Morgan Knowles, pretty much homegrown.
Yeah.
And then you can bring your imports in and slot them in to fill your gaps. You're not putting your imports into your key positions because you've developed your own.
Yeah, and that's it. And when you do, though, you bring in your imports and you have the likes of Lachlan Coote playing there. It's a good match for your team. So when you do bring them in, and obviously, as I said, they don't all work, but you bring him in and he fits your team and it's perfect for you. Whereas sometimes you think, like, are you signing the right player for you? Are you going out there? Are you doing something on the personality as well as the talent? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But as you say, you have a look at the players you've named who are homegrown, your spine's built on them, then you add players to it. Matty Lee's homegrown, but Alex Walmsley isn't. But you started props, so you brought someone in. And yeah, we've nurtured Alex Walmsley into the full-time professional international class forward that he is, but he's not come through our system and he's had to work for that. Well, that's the attitude and the application that probably Warrington fans, I think if they're really honest, they probably don't get that from the squad all the time.
Yeah. Let's hope it continues on Thursday.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Yeah, that's it. Listen,
I think it'll be a lot tighter than some of their recent games. I don't think it's obviously they went to Catalan at the weekend on the plane that turned up late, and got battered 40 points to 8. I don't think it's going to be that margin this time round.
Well, that kind of went away from them in the last 5 or 6 minutes, didn't it? Where Catalan just kept on going back to back. But is that an attitude problem rather than an ability problem? I
think Darryl Powell spoke of that, hasn't he? He's not happy with a lot of the fundamentals, and you get the impression that there is going to be a big turnover of players there over the next year or two. Yeah, if they give him the time.
Yeah, and they should give him the time. They should let him see his contract out to see where he gets him, because otherwise you're just throwing good money after bad. It's not like football where you can just start flogging players and moving them around. You usually wait for him being off contract. Well, if you turn around to Darryl Powell and say, we're going to let you sign X, Y, and Z on 3-year contracts and then get rid of him because it's not working. Who says it's going to work with those players with a different coach? Doesn't always work like that.
Absolutely. Right, Kev, your prediction then?
I am going to stick with Saints by 14.
I will go Saints by 22.
Okay.
No, that's no. I've said it now. Yeah, can't go back on my word once I've said it. 22, and that's at the far end of my expectations.
Okay.
It could be a lot closer, but
Yeah.
I'll go 22.
That's why I've got 14. Listen, that's 2 tries and a penalty, isn't it? So it's not unthinkable, is it?
Right, Kev. Enjoy Thursday evening, where you will be in charge of the instant fan reaction.
So I need someone to come on instant fan reaction with me.
Yes, we have plans. We have plans.
Yes.
We will try our best.
Yeah.
I will be torturing myself somewhere else. The said about that, the better. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Up the toffees.